Welcome everybody to this first empathy circle focusing on today climate change. Yay! I was say that's a pretty good thing. This is the bad thing, but it's nice to have space to be together and to have space for being with our emotions and whatever other experiences we're having about topics. So we're going to begin by doing a moving centering. So I'm going to invite you, if you want, to stand up. You can stay seated if you like. It's up to you, whatever works for you. And I'm going to do the exercise. It comes from Theory U, from the Presencing Institute. And it's basically sensing into the body what it would like, and then doing that, and then pausing again. And so just to begin, you might feel your feet on the floor. Feeling the connection with the feet. You might slow down your breathing. And since we're going to be maybe talking about nature with climate change, you might just for a moment imagine that your body is a tree. And so that might mean imagining there are roots that go down under your feet. And it might mean you want to move your arms up, like branches. You might sense what kind of weather it is today. How's the tree moving? Is it still, or does the wind move it? I'm inviting you every so often now to pause and see what your body wants you to do, and then moving from there. And again, sometimes pausing. And you might want to keep moving, or you may want to sit and notice a little more gently what's happening in your body. And inviting us maybe to bring some attention to our heart space. Maybe placing a hand on your heart or the other hand on your cheek, your jaw, supporting your face. Bringing some presence inside the body. And inviting you to drop that word, that term, climate change, inside. And just see what needs attention today with that. Maybe you'll want to focus in the empathy circle. Maybe you want to observe or hold space. Seeing what's there. Gently rounding it off and coming back to the group. We could do a brief check and kind of go around the circle, see what people are interested in doing. And I guess I should explain maybe just very briefly the empathy circle way is that usually we would have at least 2 focusing turns. So one person would focus and another person would listen, and the rest of us would hold space, witnessing, observing. And then once the focusing is done, we're all invited to pause and see what's coming in our bodies, whether a felt sense or some sort of symbol, an image or a word or a phrase, and offer that back to the focuser. And the idea with this themed empathy circle is that we'll all do something connected to climate change. And so the second focuser might pick a different topic connected to it, or might even keep going with the content of the first person. So it can build or be like a hub and spoke, like a variety of things connected to our topic. So inviting you each to share if there's something alive for you that you want to focus on, if you feel wanting to listen, wanting to observe. And actually, this part I can cut out. I'll just not even record it. We've just decided who's going to focus first and who's going to listen first. It's always a little bit funny when we pause the recording. It's like, okay, what do we need to say? And maybe what I'll do is I will pin Kiara and Kevin. There we go. And then the 2 of you are together. And we didn't say how much time.
Right. How long do we want to go?
I think we probably can do 15 minutes.
That sounds, if that's fine with Kara, that's fine with me.
Oh, you're
muted.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Give me a 3-minute warning.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just, you anticipated, I was just about to ask how much time you wanted. Yeah, I can do that. 3 minutes is fine. Annette, do you want to keep time, or shall I can do it? I mean, or will you do it?
I am doing it, but I'll
Okay.
do it.
Okay, that's fine. I just asked. You don't have to. I just wanted to know if I'm supposed to be watching the clock here. Okay. So I invite you then do you need, how do you feel? Are you kind of in your space? Do you need me to kind of lead you in and to gently come back into your body? Or do you feel that if you can just allow your attention to go back in? I mean, I can do a little bit of grounding if you'd like, or if you feel you can do it yourself, that's fine.
I welcome just a quick grounding. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Okay.
I'm gonna
So
stay standing for this one.
yeah. So take the position that makes sense for you, and so I invite you to gently bring your attention to your posture here as you stand, and bring your awareness to the feet touching the floor. Hmm. And now if it feels okay for you, I just some gentle invitations of allowing your breath to guide you here. Notice the breath, whatever pace it's at. Just lightly touch with your mind's eye. And notice how the breath flows up and down the entire sense of your body here, standing. See the breath tumble gently down, swirl, waking up your awareness of your feet and the earth, supporting each other. Yeah, and allow it to move you in ways that your body feels like it would be okay to move. Listen more to your body than to me. And now just notice the heart space. Let the attention settle there and feel kind of a curiosity and a wonder and a safety here in your body. And at your own pace, gently turn to what's inside. Maybe what you were talking about before, maybe what was speaking to you, or maybe something now has shifted and is calling to you. Gently ask, what wants my attention?
The crux of what's emerged sort of left me with how the really touching on an intimacy with nature and really feeling so much aliveness in there, and a kind of so much aliveness and filled with awe and love, and it was just beautiful. And then something came up from that just was oh, wouldn't it be beautiful if we were like that with humans, because we are part of nature. Just recognizing that split just was I really feel it right here in the center here. It's almost like it's both a hollowness and a heaviness, and
So you're sensing a little bit of hollowness and heaviness here in your, is that your gut? Is that where is it in your body?
It's just here and
Uh,
here. Yeah, it's just my little bit just above my. It's this here.
your sternum kind of area.
Exactly, sternum. That's the word. And just on my belly, kind of thing, stomach area.
Mm,
It's almost like it's depleting my energy system or something, or my energy
mm,
feels so depleted.
mm. The feeling of depleted.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's the first time this comes up with, oh, we're so cut off from nature. It's hard to see.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just experiencing.
Is this okay to be with? It sounds very big and powerful.
Yeah, and it's also very focused at the same time. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I too could see the entire earth, and the people, walking around with their eyes closed kind of thing.
Mm,
And at the same time, it's very personal too, in the sense that it's like today I had, I don't know, about 4 conversations with people in the government, and I was even reflecting back what they were saying, and they
mm,
were saying no. And I said, well, I just reflected back what you said, so please repeat what you were saying. I probably misunderstood. And they got all irritated, and I said, well, I'm saying this, can you just answer this question for me? And it was impossible. It was just,
mm,
this is how it is. And they literally hung up on me.
mm,
And I thought, oh, how can someone do that to another human being? Or she transferred me elsewhere. And
mm,
I found myself in the same place I was at, and that person had transferred me to their department.
mm,
It was like really odd. And I thought, wow. So it all came from that space today of my experience with these 4 people.
mm. Yeah. So
Mm,
can we pause there for a second and just that space,
mm,
all of that?
mm.
What is the sense of all of that there? Where is it in your body? A lot of talk now. Has it moved? Has it shifted? Is it the same?
My chest feels really nice. It's
Mm,
just
mm,
like a heart space. It's
mm,
one of the things that came to me as you were talking, Kevin. It's like, oh, we grieve because we love.
mm,
No other reason is for grieving other than for loving. Kind of felt that way in that moment.
mm,
And grief is often comes from a sense of loss, and
mm-hmm,
because we love what we lost.
mm,
And I kind of felt like a bigger loss, it wasn't. So that's where I went there. It's like, oh, this feels bigger than
mm,
my little thing, today. It just kind of felt how I could start to feel how it's all sort of around the earth.
mm,
This um, so we obviously, it's just really fascinating to me how really seeing how no wonder, we're having such terrible issues with the climate change. It's a
mm,
crisis, actually. It's so soft to call it climate change. It's a climate crisis. And having experienced that here in Quebec, we never had fires like that, smelling it. I mean, I
mm,
lived far from it, and yet we smelled it, and there was lots of clouds, dark clouds. They weren't clouds coming from the sky kind of thing. It's
mm,
clouds. And so it kind of felt so, I don't know, putting those two things together, it had me see sense into something else.
Hmm.
And
Do
I
you have a
can't,
sense of what that something else is, what it wants to say? Do you get a sense of
yeah,
why it's here?
kind of feels like a thread
Hmm.
for, so I've been doing a lot of, since 2020 or 20, yeah, maybe 2020, 2019 actually, and into 2020 and the rest of I was part of an organization where we did a lot of climate grief together.
Hmm.
And it kind of feels like I feel like I found a thread on how to share that with people who want to know more of what it means to
Hmm.
why we're in this situation and what, because at the same time we can access this love and generosity from the earth, because it is something extraordinary because it gives us life.
Hmm. So this thread, you
Mm.
just said love, generosity. Is there an image, a handle, sense of what all of this is? What is that thread? Do you have a sense?
I'm not sure I can name it just now. Let's just see if I have time for that. I don't know. Oh, what can I call that? I don't know if I
What's it like? Or an image? We have 3 minutes just to let you know.
It's interesting because I kind of see a groups of people being attracted
Hmm.
by trees and the earth. It's
Hmm.
that speaking to them.
Hmm.
And it kind of feels like in some ways that's what we're doing today. We're speaking on behalf of the earth with
Hmm.
words and sharing that with people, that it's so important to get to know nature before as we want to get closer to it and understand it, or teach grief, or teach anything about climate change. There's something I feel like I'd have to make notes or something, but it
Hmm.
feels like I could see, I could see people gravitating to, or like groups of people
Hmm.
toward nature and large trees, and it's like we're speaking on its behalf, like
Hmm.
behalf or something. As we tap into it, we can do that.
Well, as we're winding down here, is there a
Yeah,
sense of, is there something more that needs to come, or would this a good place
yeah.
to kind of stop?
There's something more, but I just promised myself that I would look at it later,
Hmm.
make
Yeah.
note after our call.
Yeah.
So
Then maybe take a second and just thank your body for all that's come.
yeah, exactly. So I just want to say out loud, I want to start by thanking Gendlin and all the people that I've met through him, like all three of you, and many, many more, my teachers. And thank you for your guidance, Kevin.
Hmm.
My body. I'm good. Thank you.
Welcome. And if you need to jot down if something's happening, do it before you forget.
I just need to write some salient points. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. And as you do that, Kara, with the rest of us can pause and see now what's coming in our bodies. You can just sense in and see if there's something there, if there's a physical sensation. Maybe you notice the shape or the size or the location or any other qualities. or maybe it's a word or a phrase. And it might have come during, in watching and in holding space during Kara's session, or maybe it's coming now. And when you're ready, inviting you to share in I sense or I got this word or this phrase in being with the session.
In listening, I got a strong sense inside of myself, and I'm trying to locate exactly. It feels like it's underneath the diaphragm, kind of a small ball of thread. I think has something to do with this thread, idea like yarn. And this is a sense of grief and love, but not as loss, but as an active presence, something living right now that needs my attention.
For sharing.
As Kara was talking, I sensed this squeezing around my heart that just got strong. It's still there. Very, very, very strong, like almost painful. I think it's the touching on the climate grief. And as we're sitting here and supposed to feel it and not just keep it in your brain, and it feels dangerous. Like I don't want to let it feel all the way because it will encompass me and the despair could take me down. So I can almost feel like that's part of the tension. I'm like trying to shove it back a little bit because it's so strong as we're dropping into this topic. It's
what you're sharing and connects to what was coming for me, because there was something you said, Kara, where I was thinking about, oh yeah, we need to have these skills. Like a skill to connect to nature, the non-human nature. It's a skill to connect to our felt sense, our like I'm thinking of focusing now with human nature. It's human to be able to felt sense, to notice our and then and what you're saying is like we need the skill of having enough of ourself to hold that and certainly experience the despair of going too far into it and losing myself, and that's a terrible place to be. And so I was thinking of Andy Fisher's work, eco-psychologist, and I was thinking, and I think he maybe says this, but I can't remember, but just how we do need to do this skill building of connecting to nature and ourselves first before we can really be critical with the system and change the system, because otherwise we don't have those foundational skills to do the work. So, and then I also had like you, Anne, like a heartache on my heart, like a squeezing. And I also had some feeling in my diaphragm. So there's some kind of resonance in the shares. Yeah, Kira, does something else want to be shared now? Or what's it like to hear those reflections?
It's really fascinating to hear reflections because, and you described my heart when I felt it at first. That was so descriptive. I was just trying to be brief and I didn't want to go into too much detail. I had 15 minutes, so I was just trying to get to the felt sense, but you really reflected that back, which was like, wow, it's really amazing. And the same thing with Kevin. It was like, oh, it's not just loss. I heard myself say that, and like there's some aliveness in there, and it felt so potent. And again, it kept me, and I wanted to get back to what you said, Annette, that how I didn't see it necessarily as skill building, but it was more of an educational remembering, more like remembering who we are, and like teaching that. It almost feels odd to say teaching how you are, who you really are, but maybe it's just poor choice of words. But it's like when I think about skill building, I could learn how to do carpentry. That's a skill that I can develop. But I'm going to use my nature, right, to do that. And returning to nature is our felt sense, right? Is the work. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that reflection. But it's what I find powerful is that you guys feel that in your own ways, in your own way. Yeah, it's just really fascinating.
How our bodies resonate.
How they resonate. Yeah, just
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Kiara, as you just said that there, I could feel my body resonate even stronger because you said it's not so much skill building as remembering. And I've been spending a lot of time with the word remembering lately, and how that speaks to me in its literal sense, right? Because membering is embodiment.
Yes.
And then remembering is like bringing the body back. And so there's a sense that remembering originally meant the opposite of dismembering.
Yes, that's true. My God.
So it's the sense of everything's been scattered and now we need to gather together. Remembering is to bring the whole together.
That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Because
Well, you said it, and it's just like that. I'm spending my time, and you just resonated with me.
Yeah, it just that it created a whole bunch of images about what I saw. I just remembering some of the images that came to me, but also remembering it's not only physical, it's also everything that we are as humans. Like we have intellect, which is the mind. And the mind isn't just in the brain, right? It's
the
beyond
whole thing.
right? I mean, we're creating a body here. I mean, we're in a body of something. We're just paying attention to all of that, because the body is on its own is nothing. It's the earth that gives us that life, and to remember that, and I love that image that you're just bringing, because it's just so powerful. Yeah, that resonates too. Thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And now you're giving me, we could do this all day because now I feel like you've given me images. So thank you. It's beautiful.
Well, we could just pause now and see what we want to do. We have up to another 40 minutes if we want to use the whole time. We could just keep sharing and do a bit of a round robin, like do almost like an interactive response where we each now share what's coming for us and stay in the group because we are a smaller group. Or we could do another focusing set. And then I thought, then we can still just share in the small group or go into breakout rooms for private sharing. So anybody feeling called to do something specific now? Can kind of.
The only sense I'm getting is that I'm feeling a very palpable, strong sense of this group. That there's something really powerful, moving. And so I don't know what that means other than to say that I guess thank you for all of you showing up and being present in the way you are. But I guess what I'm tipping my hand at is a hope that somehow we can continue to hold this space that we've just generated here, that's alive here. So whatever that means, I'd not want to put a pin in it yet. I don't know if that means we do another round robin of focusing or if that just means we keep reflecting. I'm not sure which, but.
I personally feel that continuing what we just did, like if someone else, if, you know, either Anne or Kevin want to focus and just then get some reflection back again. And I'm happy to listen, or just be an observer, whatever works. If someone would prefer, yeah.
And how are you feeling? You were saying didn't want to get too close, but would you like to go in
Yeah.
a bit more? Or do you feel like staying in more?
Yeah, I could try. I mean, it'd be good for me. It feels very scary, and you all are an incredible group and seem, you know, safe. But I think, you know, just the computer, and this is a new format for me, and so it feels scary also, but scary's good. Just a side note, I have so many questions, and this seems much more like purely mind-based, but I think that accessing these feelings and the felt sense around these issues is so powerful.
Mm.
And I'm really curious about how to bring it outside of this space,
Mm-hmm.
and especially to people that aren't seeking it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're all signed up because we're on board and we understand the power, but there are other people who might resist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially in traditional spaces like workspaces where you're working on, you know, I've always worked in environmental fields, so thinking about bringing this into a meeting room or a classroom, or and I don't know if we'll have time for that, or maybe you have resources in it that you could point me towards, or but I just, you know, I'm kind of sitting here thinking about how, if everybody, because what I'm trying to do even in this space is suppress some of the feelings that I'm having because they feel too big and scary. But if people looked into what they were actually feeling, you know, the world could be operating pretty differently than it is. I imagine a world where when people let themselves feel what they're feeling because of environmental destruction and the climate crisis, and that we would be walking through different spaces. So those are just some of the, you know, pure thoughts that are swirling around up here.
I'm happy to talk to you about resources at the end, like when we close the circle. Yeah, and I guess there's a sense of, yeah, when you're really new to this, you don't want to go too fast, right? Like walk before you run,
Yeah.
because we need to, like from a teaching perspective, right? We want to have the skills of felt sensing on easier things before we do the harder things, just to know how to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that said, there are ways, you know, as a net note, if you know, that just to say, since you're newer to it, that there are ways of, you don't have to get as close. So rather than thinking of suppressing, what you can do is you can take those feelings, and if you need to, you can place them a little further away, and just enough so that you feel safe and grounded and it's not overwhelming, and you're still getting a felt sense of, you know, like I love that. I'm thinking of, I have a flashing image of, there's a beautiful animal outside. It's a wild animal. I'd love to get close, but it's a wild animal. So we keep it at a distance. I'm still getting a felt sense of that wild animal, and we're both safe. I'm not interfering. They're not interfering. And as you grow the skills, it can get closer when you have the resources, et cetera, but you don't have to suppress. You can notice even a very traumatic event. If it has to be 400 yards away, that's fine. It's 400 yards away. It can't hurt you, but you can still get a felt sense because you're going to get it even 400 yards away. So there are ways.
And one of the other ways connected is using an archetype.
Mm.
And this is when it is really, really big and we don't think we can have access to ourselves when we get that close to the emotion, because like you said, despair, right? Despair is, I think, when we don't have self at all.
Mm.
Somehow we can imagine an archetype being present. And I've done that with, I blogged about it, Mother Earth, like Tafiti, and she could pick me up like as she does. I don't know if you've seen the movie Moana.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she picks up, they're like so small in her hand. And I did that one time when I was feeling despair. I imagined Mother Nature picking me up. And I did something else too. We did it was a theory U exercise of using the earth, and I like was getting energy for the earth. So there's like we can, when we're not strong enough on our own, we don't do it on your own. Like use nature, because nature is there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, there's so many ways to do it. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. What's next?
How are you feeling, Annette? We've asked everybody what their sense
Yeah.
of things is. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm still a little bit from my
Right.
head, being a little bit spacey. And a little bit in space holding. So I'm keeping a lot of distance to my feelings, actually. So it's yeah, it's feeling well contained. Yeah. Yeah. But I think I could listen. Or Kiara also said she could listen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to, unless Anne would like to. I mean, I'm willing to do a little bit of focusing. I'm just looking at the clock and thinking about I might have to leave a few minutes early. So probably before we're ending at 2. So I'd probably something closer to like 1:45, 1:50.
Mhm.
So I can do a
shorter turn, like a 10 minute.
Yeah, like a 10-minute thing would be fine by me. And I don't, whoever would like to listen. I mean,
I would love to listen, not listen officially, but listen to you hear
Okay.
more
Yeah.
about the process. Yeah,
Okay.
I would appreciate that.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, oh, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Kiara, do you want me to listen? I can. If sometimes when you've just focused, it's nice to be with content. Did you, or do you?
Yeah, I was. It's interesting. I was sensing into that. Do I want? And I just generally feel that I'm happy to give you a break if that's what you need. But if you want to listen, by all means, I'm good. Either way.
I think I would be good to listen. I think I.
You
Yeah.
want to listen? Go for it then.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. We'll pin each other. All right, Kevin. 10 minutes. Okay. And do you want a few minutes warning or more or less?
Yeah, I probably only need 2. 2 minutes is fine.
Yeah.
I just need just a couple of seconds to kind of ground. I should be able to go in pretty quick. Just my body needed to move a little bit from sitting. So.
Me too.
Just give me a second. I'll signal for you.
Sure. Yeah, take your time.
Just had to assume the position and it's right there.
It's right.
This is right here. This is the same space that's been living, I think, probably for months. And I just got the image yesterday of what this is. I haven't known what it was. Been focusing on and off for a long while.
Mm.
So it's right in back of my heart. And today it is, yeah, it still has it. It's this weird combination of safety and fear. It's so weird.
Mm.
It's just, I feel it's so paradoxical. I feel so safe and somehow not at the same time. And it's just, it's fine to be with,
Mm.
but it's just so weird. My thinking mind can't really grasp what this is.
Mm. So you've got this paradoxical feeling in your heart space of both being really safe and also having fear. And when you said you had an image, was that?
So here's the thing. This is the feeling. It's a feeling of a bubble that's empty and cold. And that's the fear, or it's not fear, it's unsafe.
Mm.
But that is being held in a warm, fiery, safe kind of embrace.
Mm.
So they're both there. So that's the sense. But then the image that popped yesterday, and it's still here. Let me see if it's the same. It's like the same, but it's alive. It's moving. It is a. Um, so I have to describe it to you because I know what it is, but you don't. It's an ancient medieval walled city in Italy.
Mm.
So it feels very medieval, and there's this really thick clay red wall around it. And I feel as I put my hand on the wall, like a throbbing, like a heartbeat. And that image of a walled city somehow is connected with that sense of safe and not safe. And as I lean into it, I can feel like I want to cry.
Mm.
Mm.
Just checking if it's okay to welcome those tears a little bit.
Yeah, I am. And they're kind of holding their space. I'm not going to force it, but I can feel they're weepy. It's right on the edge. If it happens, it happens. I'm not going to force. They're welcome if they want to come. They're right on the edge.
Right on the edge, and it's all connected to this image of the walled city in Italy, a medieval wall, and your heart space that's safe, and then within that, an unsafe.
This really is the image for me. I don't know why, but this is the image of grief. A walled city.
Mm.
I don't understand. It
Yeah.
makes no sense to me, but that's what it is at the moment.
So maybe we can pause and just give your body a little bit of time to see if it's going to tell you more about why the image of the walled city and how this connects to grief. Maybe just noticing any changes in your heart space.
I feel the need to want to put my head against the wall as if almost like I want to hug it, the
Mm.
whole thing. It's too big. You can't get your arms around it, but
And you're outside of the city when you're doing
oh
that?
yeah, I'm outside.
Oh.
I'm outside the city. That's what's so weird.
Mm.
I don't understand. Like why this image and what it means.
Mm-hmm.
It's somehow the image, it for me, it's like a beating red heart, that red clay wall. It's like it pulses like a heartbeat. And it feels so connected to kind of all the pain. It just feels like it's everybody's. It's not mine. It's mine and it's not mine.
Hmm.
And it just, yeah, and as I sit with it, I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel the intensity growing of it not being okay. But it doesn't feel overwhelming. I just feel it's like that image before of a pressure on my heart. Like the intensity's like somebody's turning the knob up.
Hmm.
And I can feel it getting tighter and stronger and stronger. And it's not, it is so intense that a part of me feels like I should be scared out of my mind. And another part of me feels so okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't understand the image.
Yeah. I don't know, quite remember the exact words you used, but the word that I had was like that you're somehow touching collective
Hmm.
feel.
This is all the pain.
Right. You said all the pain.
It's moving. Hold on.
Okay.
I have a strong sense of like draining. Like I could feel liquid draining down. These
Yeah.
are tears. These are tears.
Yeah. We have a few minutes.
Hmm.
Getting a sense of draining of tears.
These are tears.
Yeah.
This might be a good place. I'm getting a sense that I have to come back. This might be a good place to stop. I feel like I could be wrong, but I get a sense that, hold on, let me just sense. Yeah, I get the sense that if this connects, the tears that want to come will flow. And that's fine. I'm not, but I have a feeling like it's going to take a while for that to unfold.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to pause and know that I have to come back and cry.
Yeah.
Thank my body for this.
Yeah. Your body is giving you some homework to come back and cry.
Mm.
Yeah. And taking a moment to thank it for all that came. And thanking yourself for listening.
Mm.
Yeah.
And thanking all of you for holding the space.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we'll come back, removing the pen and inviting us all to pause now and see what's alive in your body and being with Kevin's experience and seeing what wants to be shared, maybe the physicality of it, or maybe it's a word or phrase or image. Inviting you to share when you're ready.
Mm. I feel like we're bordering the mystical or another level of consciousness, because you reminded me of a dream I had is of the description of the wall, the wall.
Mm.
Well, sorry, a walled city.
Mm.
And in my dream, I actually entered that similar space that you talked about.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just it's just really a bit freaky. But the other thing that came up, which I didn't utter out loud because I feel like Annette is maybe sick and tired of me hearing those three words, but when you talked about the collective, that came to me. But the collective that I'm referring to is, the internalized cultural oppressions that we have, that we inherited, that we don't even know that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of empathy around that, which is the empathy circle today. I felt empathy, but I also felt my chest relaxing. I felt like this beautiful expansiveness was just, I felt like I was sitting in something warm and, yeah, sitting in a heart space. And I said, oh, we are.
Yeah.
It's not imagination. I'm actually in there. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very touched. Really.
Wow, I'm kind of stunned right now, and thank you, Kevin, for sharing and I guess focusing, but going there and sharing that experience with us. But I'm not sure when you said you felt your heart relaxing. That was exactly the experience I had. It's been it started to relax, and your image of the wall, so powerful. I'm here in New Mexico, and there's a lot of adobe building.
It reminds me
And
of that. Yeah.
it really brought up, because the adobe is from the earth, so it connects it all together, right? The adobe, you dig up the mud where you are and you build the house, but also there's something about the way that the adobe retains heat. That, and when you were talking about kind of the energy dispersing throughout it, and that warmth, and it was just, you can't see here, but it was just relaxing across here. So even though I heard the grief, and I heard the unknown and the fear and the bubble that was in that, what was really coming to me from your experience was this kind of relaxation and spreading out of the energy, and like many hands on the adobe, and coming back to the earth. Really powerful imagery.
I just want to say that as you say the word adobe, like my heart was like, that's it. That's it. I didn't have the word for it, but that's exactly it. That's what the image for me is. It's that kind of clay wall that's going around that city.
Wow.
It's exactly it. It's exactly it. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't have the words for that, but yeah. It's just really weird that reflective of a dream.
Right.
Going inside it was quite freaky too. Not today, but in my dreams. And it's just and yeah, I've completely forgot about that.
Maybe more. I also have a relaxing in my heart space, but I have like a pulling. It's actually kind of funny. There's like up here, it feels open and relaxed. And then here on my chest, there's feels like a wanting. Stretching, yeah, like an uncomfortable opening somehow. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, this image popped in yesterday for the first time, and it's taken like months to have an image that came from this exact feeling, has been hovering for a while. And I think it started off for me as personal grief. a few months ago, I lost my aunt. It was a surprise death, and she was young, and I was close to her. And so it was kind of sad. And I thought, okay, this is just my body grieving, but it surely is that. But then it's this whole personal collective. I started to realize it was much more. It was this, like, it was the doorway in. That personal grief was the doorway into kind of like all the collective griefs in every possible way I can imagine. And then it, because of my interest, climate is a major interest of mine. And so I guess it was inevitable that it was going to tap into that as well. So it's just all, but again, I don't understand. That's why it's so powerful for me, is I don't understand intellectually what a walled city has to do with this. And it's just something about that adobe wall and the heart and the heat and and I love what you said, Kara, about this, like, what's the phrase, the 3-word phrase that you say Annette is tired of hearing?
Oh, internalized cultural oppressions.
Yeah.
Not tired.
I know she was joking, but yeah, there's, when you said that, I'm like, ooh, I wonder if there's something here of like a wall was built around something that should not be, or the wall is the best part and the cities shouldn't be there. It should be outside. Something you said there resonated, made the image make a little more sense. I don't know why, but it's still kind of a very weird space for me. It feels dreamlike. So it's funny that you say you were there in a dream, because it does feel dreamlike. All I know is it works for me, even though intellectually it doesn't seem to work, because it really brings a strong felt sense, and my body moves a lot with it, even though my mind doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Can let us know when it
Yeah,
when the meaning reveals itself fully. When it fully operates, you'll be like, ah.
Yeah. Oh my, I get a sense that if it reveals itself, you might find me, I'll pass out. I'll be like, oh my Lord, that was amazing. And in surprise.
Yeah. I'm still unfolding that dream. And this happened right around the time, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, then I really got involved in climate change.
Interesting.
And I don't know, it's just really weird.
Right.
It was so weird. It's just yeah, there were it's very powerful beings that I've never seen in my entire life. It's just weird. And it's almost like earth protectors, like guardians. That's the word that came to me when I began to unfold it. There were guardians in there, and it's not small. It's just,
Interesting.
I recognize that it wasn't just a city. It was, I don't know what it was. I still can't put words to it. Although it sounded exactly what you were saying, pretty much exact, but it's like, how can that be, right?
Right.
So I felt like it was coming from somewhere else. Because I had some really strange messages that were coming out of my mouth, and I'm thinking, what the hell? It's just really strange. Anyway, I'm still puzzled by that dream, and I still get a lot out of it when it comes to me and try to unfold it. And so, I don't know, maybe that's why we're all here today.
I thank you so much for hearing it, because it really is. I'm not gonna lie. When you said you dreamt that space, I was like, oh, what? Like, that's a little.
That's weird.
It's a little. I'm fine with weird, but I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. C'est magique.
Guardians. I'm gonna sit with that, because there feels like there's something there.
and this might be my mind, but going back to Kara, what you were saying at the beginning about we've lost our nature, right? In being
Yes,
disconnected from each other and from non-human nature. And there's a sense of when we started to make those walls is when it was happening.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that
Yep.
fit. Yeah,
And
that sound of it fits. And okay, so this is weird. It fits and it doesn't fit,
Mhm.
but it fits, you know, for now. But it doesn't fit in the sense that I have to get back to that felt sense that that's maybe it's I don't know how much time we have, but it just feels like yeah, so it's going back to my remembrance that we have lost something and the attempt to remember or call it back in, and not worry about it being weird kind of thing, because that comes up, it shuts me down, it shuts me, it's like
Right.
you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
you know, so
Exactly.
um so yeah, it's yeah, in a way, in the sense that it's correct. It's like there's it's hard walls, right? They're like rock almost. It becomes almost like rock. And
Yeah.
but it's much softer than rock too. So that's good, you know, in that way.
Yeah, and in the sense I hear you saying about how it's correct and incorrect, like I get a
Yeah.
feeling of that too, because on some level it's correct that when we built the walls is like the place where it starts, but then at something about this image where these walls are somehow living.
Living, exactly. They're alive.
So they're a living wall and they're
Exactly.
not the kind of wall that would stop you from being in touch.
Yeah,
But I think Annette's image of when we started building walls is part of the problem. It's just like we need to remember how to build living walls.
living walls and not go beyond that where they become.
Yeah, we need to figure out how to, or something about tapping that city or something about that. I don't, again, none of that's right for me, but it works and it doesn't work. And I hear that. So
yeah, you're right.
I don't know what to do with it.
That's pretty cool. How yeah, interesting how words are coming forth, you know, and having the same sensations, all of us. It's just amazing. Are you on mute, Anne?
I'm just curious about it. And
I am.
having
I said, yeah, because all of us felt a release, and also Annette, what you were doing like this
Yes.
it was exactly
Doing that
that.
too?
And I
I
don't,
had the same
what does
thing.
that mean? I don't know.
Well, and you saw me before where I wanted to stretch my hands around the city. So there's a sense of that movement. There is a sense of that, like
Yeah.
kind of wanting to, and I can feel my stretching wanting to go
Yes.
out.
Wow.
Very cool.
This is
Yeah,
the best climate change exchange I've ever had.
Yay. I would invite us to just pause and see if there's anything else that wants to come for just now, right? We have 7 minutes left, and just see if anything else wants to come for today. And maybe also just asking your body for a word or an image of how you're leaving the circle. Something we could share in closing. Right.
So a deep gratitude is the first thing that popped. So thank you so much, and Kevin, and you for Annette for putting this together. It's very encouraging. The second thing that came was, oh, and then I went, oh, what's that? You know? So I heard the circle might be closing, but it's never broken. So it feels like an invitation. Or I hope to see you again, or maybe connect with each other, because there's something I feel like together we seem to be unfolding something. So it's an invitation. Anyone is interested here, I love to hear from you. And yeah. So I'll put my email address in the chat.
Good.
So again, this is freaking me out because those two things are what I wanted to share. Is I initially just had this strong sense of gratitude, and then this other sense of like, does this really have to end? And then you just articulated that, and I was like, oh man, yeah, I don't know what this is, but I'm in for the ride. So I'll send my email. I'm fine. But very much a deep gratitude. It was just amazing. I don't know what this is, but I'm glad it's here. So.
Well, that's it. I was like, oh, I should have gone first because I, what are we taking? I was a deep gratitude for this space, and I flashed to an image of the mountains outside where I am. There, something about that, but it was just gratitude for the space. And then I thought about a word that I was trying to take with me, and I couldn't quite explain it very well, but it was committed. And I think the committed is to trying to pursue these kinds of spaces beyond this group and this moment, and looking for opportunities to expand this sense, I guess. So thank you. Thank you all for sharing this with me. I'll put my email into it.
I'm also very grateful to all of you for coming. And I was thinking of so this is the image I used for this circle. And it was the second AI image I asked it to make.
Wow.
And I was like, I think I asked it to make a wreath. And I liked how this was like forming something, right? Like you could have a sense that it's moving and it's going to make a circle, but it hasn't made the circle yet. And it's just very touching to me that now you're all reflecting that we made a circle. We did. And anyways, so thank you for your hearts, your butterflies, whatever it is you were, that you came, and your felt sense in yourselves, your true selves. And yeah, magic happens when we are nature, we could say.
Yeah. Yeah, to allow the mountains to speak to us, to allow the trees to speak to us, and because we can, yeah, if we're part of nature, then we can communicate with nature. We are nature itself. So
yeah, that's why I think felt sensing is so wonderful here, because it is, I think, a really strong doorway into learning how to speak the language of Earth again.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I'm going to close the circle, and thank you all. And what was I going to say? Oh, you were saying about continuing this, and I will be sharing and participating in something called Theory U 2X, and we're creating a climate sanctuary, which is for peer-to-peer connections. So I will share that. That might be a way to continue. And I'm going to keep doing these circles on different things. So I will bring climate back, or I maybe more specific parts of climate. We can come back this way. So I'm saying that. So that's on the recording. And I don't know if there's anything else that needs to be on the recording. I can put it in the description if need be. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annette. Really appreciate
Mm,
this consistent work that you do toward climate.
Thank you.